The workshop aimed at enhancing transparency within the fisheries sectors of Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana and Senegal served as a platform for stakeholders to discuss pertinent issues and propose viable solutions. The program, hosted by the Center for Maritime Law and Security Africa, shed light on the critical need for accessible and accurate data in Ghana's maritime industry. Dr. Rebecca Chirwa Isamwa is a senior researcher and the program's manager at the Center for Maritime Law and Security Africa.
Transparency has to be defined in our context. In the Ghanaian context, when we talk about fisheries sector transparency, what do we want to see? Of course, there are so many studies that have been conducted. There are other arrangements under, for instance, the Fisheries Transparency Initiative. There are others under FCWC, even under EJF. But are these compatible with the things that we expect to see in our fisheries sector, looking at our long-term goals? So one thing is, for instance, to make information as available as possible, make decision-making as inclusive, not to just have the stakeholders on the table, but not having a voice. So these are some of the main things that we found across all the 4 countries under the project, to give a voice to the stakeholders, the resource users, to say that these are our challenges, these are the bottlenecks to transparency, and therefore the need to improve them.
The president of the Canoe Fishermen and Gear Owners Association of Ghana, Nana Kweja, stated some of the reasons that undermine the work they do as stakeholders in the fishery space.
We see transparency as tenet of good fisheries governance. And we are concerned about access to information, because as fishers and resource users, we find it a responsibility to participate actively in the management and governance of the fisheries. That can be done only when we are well informed about state of affairs. It is therefore important for us to have access to information.
Chair of the Fisheries Commission Board and a professor of fisheries science at the University of Ghana, Professor Francis Nunu, emphasized the importance of transparency, highlighting how it can foster accountability and improve overall governance in the fisheries sector.
We want to see this information being made available freely or in some available method, electronically, etc., either on the website or available to the public, so that people will know the numbers and what is happening in the industry. It will be useful for policy decision making, formulation of policy and other things that are needed, even for the gathering of inputs for fishermen and all that. The government will also be able to inform itself on the level of subsidies, whether we are reducing subsidies or we are increasing subsidies. All these things will be informed by the data from the project.
The workshop's overarching goal was to encourage a more inclusive and informed approach to managing the fisheries and maritime space in the region, ensuring sustainable practices and fostering a thriving maritime ecosystem.